Hello and welcome to this very short introduction to the Victoria County history, often known as the VCH. So the VCH is a national network of place-based research, and today I'm going to talk to you about how the VCH might be useful if you are studying place and people within place. So I am Dr. Ruth Slatter, lecturer in historic environment at the Institute of Historical Research, which is part of the University of London, and I'm just one part of the VCH's central office team, which also includes my colleagues Professor Catherine Clark, who is the director of the VCH, Dr. Adam Chapman, who is another general editor within the VCH, and Rebecca Reid, who is our project support officer. But the VCH is much more than us in central office because it operates as a federal system. So while we in the VCH office are based in the University of London, we are just one part of a national network of researchers and authors in 19 counties across England who are engaged in local research into places and the places in which they are based. So the VCH was initially founded in 1899, and throughout its 125-year history, it has consistently aimed to write the history of every place in England from the earliest archaeological records to the present day. So today, the VCH prioritises the production of deep and comprehensive place-based knowledge, contributing to local pride by emphasising the interesting histories of all places and engaging local people in making and reflecting on these histories, providing training and development for everyone and anyone engaged in place-based research, and supporting the well-being of our contributors and collaborators as they engage in the joys of place-based research. So in the rest of the talk, I will introduce VCH outputs, so what they include, how they might be helpful for studying place and where you can find them, before talking a little bit about our research processes and how you might like to get involved with the VCH. But just very quickly before that, for those of you who are wondering why we're called the Victoria County History, the VCH was named after Queen Victoria when it was founded and dedicated in 1899. In 2012, the VCH was rededicated to the late Queen Elizabeth II, and earlier this year, various members of the VCH team met Princess Anne to share with her how the VCH now operates as a community history project. But on to our VCH outputs. So the VCH is perhaps best known for its big red books, large encyclopedic volumes arranged by county. And to date, we have published 247 red books, with the 248th volume being launched in Oxfordshire later this month. So these red books either include overviews of the history of each county, including information about archaeology, natural history, sports history, educational history, or provide detailed histories of specific places within those counties. So the county overviews are largely found in volumes 1, 2 and sometimes in the volume 3s, and were mostly completed in the early decades of the 20th century. These volumes are really useful sources of information about the natural history of counties in the early 20th century, sporting practices in specific regions, archaeology, geology and doomsday records about specific English counties. VCH Volume 1s were written for 38 different counties, and more general information about counties were continued in 43 Volumes 2s and 3s. So if you're looking for some general background about a county, then these are really good places to start. But actually, most VCH volumes don't operate on the county level. They provide detailed histories of very specific places within a specific county. And they often cover a collection of parishes within a particular area. Now, these sorts of volumes continue to be researched, written and published to this day, and provide information about specific places' landscapes, their settlement patterns, their infrastructure, their building history, their land ownership, social history, economic history, religious history and local government. Written exclusively with reference to primary data, these volumes include lots of detailed information about all of these aspects of a place and really detailed footnotes that you can follow up and find relevant archival material that might be of interest to you. So the VCH level of coverage varies from county to county, and it is an ongoing project. There are still lots of places in England which have not been covered, and there are some counties which are nearer completion than others. But if you're studying a specific place or people who lived in a specific place, it's always worth finding out if a VCH volume has been published about that place, because it could provide you with some really useful foundational information for your research. So you can find out more about our recent VCH read books via the Institute of Historical Research's website, the link to which is there. Or you can find a full list of all the read books that have ever been published, including a breakdown of the parishes covered within each of these books via medievalgenealogy.org.uk. You can find read books in many public and university libraries, but you can also access the content for 173 read books free at any time in any part of the world via British History Online. To date, VCH material on British History Online have received nearly 3 million page visits, and we're currently in the process of engaging in a substantial digitisation project with the aim of getting the remaining volumes up onto British History Online over the next 4 years. So this will be a gradual process, so keep an eye on British History Online for new material, or follow us on social media for announcements when new material is available. And I'll provide some information about social media at the end of today's talk. Now, even if there isn't a VCH read book about the place that you are studying, there may be other VCH publications that are useful to you. In 2005, the VCH started a project called England's Past for Everyone, and they began to publish shorter volumes that focused on specific places and provided detailed information about these towns or villages. So 16 England's Past for Everyone volumes were published, and you can find out more information about the England's Past for Everyone series on the VCH's webpage. The link is there. So when England's Past for Everyone finished, there was still a huge appetite for developing short VCH books. So the VCH short series developed, and this resulted in 21 VCH shorts published by the University of London Press, which focused on places such as Basingstoke, St George's Hanover Square in London, Yate and Castle Donington. These volumes follow the same format as a VCH read book, so they provide information about landscape history, settlement patterns, buildings, land ownership, social, economic and religious histories. But rather than focusing on several small places within the region, they just focus on one. And you can find out all you need to know about VCH shorts and buy them from the University of London Press using that link to the IHR website. Now, earlier this year, we decided to move away from the VCH short series to a VCH publication partnership model, which allows members of the VCH community to publish place-based histories in a format that works for them and the people that they are working with and writing for. So some of these books are still very much like VCH shorts, and forthcoming titles include 19th century Basingstoke, Herriard and Loughborough since 1750. However, some of the publications in this model are now more community focused, so they're produced in collaboration with and specifically for members of local communities. So for example, earlier this year, Louise Ryland-Epton from VCH Wiltshire published this book about the Kingtons, and this book was specifically produced for people within the parishes of Kingston St Michael and Kingston Langley. Now, don't worry, these books are still peer reviewed, they still have the same level of VCH research going into them, but they are produced in a way that is more community focused and is more accessible for local communities. So we really look forward to seeing how VCH publications develop with this new model, and the Red Book series will continue completely unaffected. So that's a brief overview of VCH outputs and how they might be helpful if you are conducting research into place and people within a place. But before I finish, I want to quickly say something about how you might want to get involved with VCH research. As I said towards the beginning of this presentation, the VCH is a federal system. So there is the central office, and then there are people conducting VCH research and writing VCH outputs in 19 counties of England. These are run by trusts that are organised by local people who are passionate about place-based histories. And so if this is something that you think you might like to be involved in, if you'd like to be involved in the VCH in your area, there's more information on the IHR website about the VCH counties, where counties are operating and how you might like to get involved with them. There are also other ways in which you could get involved with the VCH. Firstly, we run free online training to support people undertaking place-based research. Recently, this has included training around self-publishing, analysing and writing about buildings, working with publishers and using images in publications. And recordings of all of our online training sessions can be found on the IHR website. You might also be interested to know that the VCH is just one of the flagship projects within the Institute of Historical Research's Centre for the History of People, Place and Community. Undertaking and facilitating engaged, innovative research into placed histories across all regions and periods, the Centre for the History of People, Place and Community has an event series which is open to anyone interested in place-based research. Our events are all free and generally online, so you can find out more information about upcoming events on the Institute of Historical Research's website on the People, Place and Community seminar section. But the best way to find out more about the VCH, the Centre for the History of People, Place and Community, and our forthcoming publications, projects and upcoming events is to follow us on social media. So we are VCH_London on X or Twitter and VCHLondon.bsky.social on Blue Sky. And we are CHPPC_IHR on X or Twitter and CHPPCBsky.social on Blue Sky. And if you have any questions about the VCH and would like to get in touch with me or any of my colleagues, the best email to contact us on is info@victoriacountyhistory.ac.uk. So thank you so much for listening to this talk. The whole of the VCH team are wishing all of you all the best with your place-based research, and we would love to hear more about your research as it develops.